Now, start looking at converting your expectations simply into the routines of their day. Not hard. You already know what it is. Just talk about what you talk about. But write it down. In their morning, what does it look like? Well, obviously they get up. But who gets them up? Right? You want to define independence. You want to define emotional capabilities. You want to define confidence. Get your ass out of bed on your own. Make your own lunch. Make your own breakfast. And get out the door and say goodbye to mom. While mom sits there sipping your cup of coffee, reading the morning newspaper. Because she's bored. Right? Whatever. Like, but that's the ultimate goal. And they can't see that right now. They're just in the weeds of codependency, and that's fine. There's no judgment in that. Because it's getting them through. But here's a valuable opportunity to capitalize on. And build a skill of temporal and spatial awareness. Everything has a flow to it. So we have a flow to a day, and this isn't complicated. Just regular flow, write it down, and you post it, and you have your child check it off. Now, this is just kind of what it can look like, obviously, with a pretty general template, right, of what a flow to a morning can look like. But in the basicness of this, temporal spatial awareness of where I am in space and time and what I'm responsible for in space and time. Very logical. Many adults with ADHD have saved their careers by developing a strategy of writing down a checklist. I hear it all the time. And they say at some point I came to the conclusion that life was just too damn hard and I was struggling too damn much and I was suffering because I was trying to wing it. And I just started writing things down and I claimed my life. And it's the same mindset. You're just treating it, helping them to see it. Okay, this is a girl that has pretty significant ADHD, and she's young, so we put pictures in there, and we made it really simple. The words match the picture, right? She struggles with reading, so we didn't necessarily rely on the words, but it's good to have them in there. And we put it in as a week, right? So she can see, right, the flow of time in a way, and she works for one thing. She loves chocolate. Why not? Right? Your kids are going to do it for the cell phone. No, you're not getting your cell phone if you're not managing your day. Okay, that's fair. Why? Because that's the expectation. Now, that's kind of like more of a typical one, but she was doing it and she's loving it. Now it's too much to focus on the whole day. Just the morning right now. Get her out the door feeling good. Is an awesome start for her, because her mornings have never felt good. And these are kind of questions you can ask to probe. Now this is the metacognitive aspect of things. This is the problem-solving aspect of things. This is the tapping into my child's interconnectedness with not me anymore, but with their routine, and asking questions that are meaningful, such as, how'd your morning go? Right? I'm not judging, I'm just asking. Now that's a powerful question that you may never have asked before, because you already know, and you're just in there doing everything that they don't even know. They say, ask my mom. I have no way. So, and then just ask them. So in the course of a week, they can track how they did. And she goes up and she checks off everything she's done right, and really feeling good about herself. In the evening, can go the same way. Right, so here you talk about time, and you talk about priorities. You talk about responsibilities, study time, chore time, dinner time, and specific incidences of when screens are turned in. Just recognizing that these are the expectations, but now they're tangible. Now I can see and feel them in the passage of time. In the bedtime, when are my lights out? Usually in relation to homework being done and things like that, or age level. It all depends. That time is not the same for elementary school. Keep in mind, I'm moving fast because I have a lot to get through. Keep your questions down. Write your questions down, okay? Because I'm going to cover up. Right now, I'm just going through different time periods of routines, right? So when you talk about study time, this is where homework takes place. But when you've addressed the morning routine, you've addressed the afternoon routine, you're tapping in, you've already tapped into this muscle. But now when it's time to do something really hard like studying or homework, I have this history of success that I can somehow rely on. Right? So I'm not just putting all of my eggs in one basket and forcing my kid to come up with this one routine at one point during the day, and that's called homework, which is the hardest thing for them to do. I now am creating other opportunities to do it. Right? Most important thing about homework is when they start. When they start. Most kids, starting is the issue. Most kids, they'll finish when they start. I say most. What becomes really powerful is what is the reward at the end of it. Don't be afraid to explore that with your child. But make it appropriate. You know, sometimes it's, you have practice at 6:30. You're not going if your homework's done. That's the reward. It's not a punishment, kiddo. We're just helping you prioritize. Right? But that can tap into their motivation, tap into that part of them that says, I want to get my homework done. I don't want to stink at homework. And now I have the reward at the end of it, which is called going to practice, which is, again, the privilege that you're on. So you can have a really valuable conversation around that to help them through that. And you know why homework can be so hard for a lot of kids? You probably do. Working memory. Many children, by the time they get to homework time of the day, they're tapped out. Right? Their emotions are high, their energy's low, and their capacity for problem solving is non-existent, which is why you have temper tantrums, which is why you have meltdowns, and why everybody walks on eggshells, because they don't want to set their kid off kind of scenarios, right? Working memory is just non-existent. There are ways to rebuild it, and we'll talk about that, but that's why study time or homework time can be just so very difficult. And you'll hear me talk about pushing back at the school to say, the symptoms are just too great at home for us to tackle them. Right? My child feels like crap, and I'm tired of her feeling so awful about herself during this time of the night. It's not worth the emotional damage. Push back on the school and come up with another plan. Versus get him a time to start, reinforce that time, right? Start with the easiest thing first, move to the move to the hardest thing. Work in a common area. I want to see you working. It's called proximity control. It's the most powerful teaching tool ever invented. Use it at home, but be positive in your influence while you're there, right? Don't be the nagging parent, because then you just make it worse. Right? Come up with a language of help. What do you want me to say to check in with you? If you need help, what could you say? If you ask for help 3 times, what's a good reward for that? Whatever. Just start having fun with the positiveness of getting through it. Okay? Weekend, same thing. Most homework doesn't get passed in on Mondays. You know why? Because no plan. Right? There's no plan. Right? By Sunday night, there's just no time left. So very little gets done. So on Friday night, your time to check in. I want to check in on how the week went, and I'll show you how to do that. And I want to talk about the weekend. Prioritize. Teach them that language. Teach them the temporal and spatial awareness of prioritizing what do I need to get done and what do I want to do? What's my free time? And starting to compartmentalize that over weekend is a powerful opportunity that you can't ignore. Because you already know they are. Right? And it's not life-fulfilling if you ignore that. Okay? Sunday night's a time to check on the week. Sit down, look at the week ahead. What's going on this week? What's going on this week? And I'll show you how to do that too. So here's more of an adult version, or more of a typical version of what a routine can look like from start to finish. And I have a template on my website. You can find it pretty easily and just plug it in. Right? And sit down with your kids. I do this with the kids. You sit down and walk this out with them. It's transformative, honestly. For some kids, as soon as you do this, so much changes. The interconnectedness with this gets away from the interconnectedness with you, which is again part of that shift. We want to get out. You want to get out of your head, get out of that codependency or whatever, that learned helplessness that may be symptomatic of your involvement, and give them a roadmap. Right? But here's what I had a parent ask. Yeah, I do that, but my kid doesn't do anything still. Yeah, because they're not motivated still. Like there's no real catalyst for for initiation, because by the way, thinking this way is harder for them. It's not because they don't want to. For a lot of them, it's harder. It's harder to think in this logical, sequential manner, right? It's the left brain, right brain battle. So you